Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Hopefully, I fixed any technical difficulties I was having before. And here we go. Let me make sure this headphone is in correctly. Yes, it is. Alrighty. Y'all let me know as y'all fall in. Let me get a comment from the first person that's in. All right. So Jake Achencloth, I guess his name is, the Congress member. So we are responding. Links in the description. We are responding to BGS's um most recent video. And it's just another Congress member being afraid or worried about the direction of young men, and how young men are not being properly socialized and how they are retreating to online spaces, particularly white men. You can tell white young men, and how they're sharing memes and saying racist and apparently sexist stuff, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So what happens when you have all stick and no carrot? Or the carrot is so high up, or the carrot is so exaggerated, right? What does Mr. Z mean by that? This particular education system, the entertainment industry, the social architects, whoever they may be, have had unfettered access to the boys who are now men for some 40 to 50 years now, right? And they don't like the results of their own work, by the way. They are not fans of their own actions. You have unfettered access to the boys and the men for some 4 or 5 decades. These people want to force men off of the interwebs to reckon with what this feminized, effeminate society has become. Now, caveat. At the very, very tip top, it's still male dominated. At the very, very tip top. And those men, in my estimation, use women as the colonizing agent and essentially the overseer of society, right? Women are softer, women are more pliable, women are more gullible, women are just easier to deal with. And they're using women to discipline the men as a buffer class between the men that they're actually afraid of. So at the very tippy top are the Joe Bidens. At the very tippy top are the Bill Gates and the Jeff Bezos. At the very tippy top, it's still predominantly male. Everything else under that, now that's a different conversation. Right? Particularly in the black community. Now, the black community, even at the very tippy top, it ain't male. It ain't male dominated. Right? Now, why does this matter? The carrot. What's the carrot? The carrot is, well, if you want a modicum of nuclear family, heterosexual nuclear family, then you got to become a millionaire. Oh, yeah, and she 50% chance she still divorces you. Although, as you get higher up in the income bracket, it's less likely. Right? That's the carrot. So there is no carrot for average men. Definitely no carrot for poor men. You might as well self-delete and come back as a reindeer or a butterfly or something else. Right? Or a woman, a human woman. That'll be good for you. Right? So the question then again, once again, is what is the carrot? For those of you that wonder why your children are so big, your sons in particular are so big on social media where they can, retreat to, or they want to be some type of YouTube or social media influencer, right? They want these big, huge displays of wealth, extravagance, opulence, because anything short of that, anything air quotes normal. Let Mr. Z just make the most obvious statement. We've all said it, even outside the black manosphere. We've all said it. Average women don't want average men. Regular women don't want regular men. Beginning, end. How many times do y'all have to hear this? The carrot is becoming more and more expensive, but it's the same carrot it's always been. As a matter of fact, according to the black manosphere, it's a worse quality of carrot, and it costs more than it's ever cost. Actually, this carrot might be poisonous for you, right? This carrot might actually be poisonous for you, and yet it costs more than it's ever cost. And we're demanding that the men pay this exorbitant price this for this over they we want these men, we demand, not even want, we demand these men pay this insane price for this toxic carrot. And what's the carrot? The women. The women that produce the children that she will probably take from you in divorce. But the women that produce the children, that's the carrot. So for many men, there's no more carrot. And for other men, they're being told to pay ransom fees for this toxic carrot, for this poisonous carrot. And then there's the stick. Oh, the stick. And what's the stick? Well, entertainment is the stick. The academy is the stick. The overall society is the stick. And what does the stick do all day? Tell you how sexist you are all day. Give you Gillette commercials telling you how sexist you are all day. Giving you television shows showing you as a big dumb oaf all day. Yeah, you might be married on the television show, but your wife is the wise one and the smart one and the one that's good with money and the really good disciplinarian, and you're just there to provide the money, maybe, depending on the television show. And that's it. And you're the comic relief. You're always the comic relief. Right? What's the other stick? Divorce. Oh, yeah, that's coming at a 50-50, right? 50% you get divorced. Now, depending on how well you are at getting that carrot, as you go up in your financial endeavors, as you go up, the less likely you are to get divorced. Now, will you look at that? So is it really character flaw, ladies? So men with more money just have better character, huh? They're just nicer people and they clean up around the house and they do their chores more. Yeah, that's it. Or is it simply that they got more money and you're less likely to divorce? And you'll swallow your pride and you'll overlook certain air quotes character flaws. Could it be that? Or could it be that these men are the same as any other men? You just use the excuse of character flaw for poorer men? Could it be that? Right. So 50-50 that you get hit with the stick of divorce. 100% that you find yourself watching a commercial that is anti-man or that treats men as idiots. 100% that you'll catch yourself watching a television show that shows the husband or the male love interest as a big dumb idiot or a sexist misogynistic monster. Don't forget that. If you're not a big dumb idiot, then you're really intelligent, but you're cold and calculated and you're a womanizer. Right? Oh yeah, there's that male also. There's that male. The one that she actually has the hots for, but he's just too toxic. He's a monster. Then there's the one where she's about, and he has the heart of gold, but he's a big dummy. Those are the sticks. divorce. And we're not going to mention the DV rate that's initiated by women, but of course, you're going to be the one to most likely go to jail if something actually happens, if you respond back in kind, right? That part, right? So this Congress member, Mr. Jake, we'll just call him Mr. Jake, is a Democrat. He is a former Marine. He is a Harvard and MIT grad, right? White guy out of Massachusetts. And he has 2 children, and he's showing concern about the state of young boys, Gen Z boys, right? And I would like to say to Mr. Jake, Mr. Jake's around my age, he's 35 years old. Mr. Jake, what did you think was going to happen? You're my same age. You grew up in the Northeast. I'm from the South. Yeah, you're white. I'm black. Welcome to hell. Yeah, y'all have desensitized men. Y'all desensitized the boys. Of course, the boys are going online where they can be themselves, where they can compete, where they can insult each other, joke with each other. Yes, even make sexist jokes without being thrown under the bus and being, you know, beat up by society. Oh, yeah. Do you actually want to drag these men out into open society? Do you know what that's going to look like when you force them to have to play by these rules? Do you think your malls are going to be safe then? Oh, yeah, Mr. Z just went there. Mr. Z, you just went there. Yes, I did. Huh? You think your shopping centers are going to be safe then? When you drag these men out and you force them to play the matriarchal game if you want to be kind, the gynocracy game if you want to be accurate, right? You think that's wise? Let me tell you what Mr. Richard Reeves said. Dr. Richard Reeves, excuse me. Maybe these screens are saving us. Yeah. Y'all need to coordinate and actually have a real conversation. I don't know if you guys have. Because, yeah, every once in a while you'll have, you know, one of these guys that come out here and does something heinous. Of course, of course. But for the most part, the screens are saving society. Yeah. The cell phones and the televisions and the video games are saving society. Because you don't know how to incentivize your regular, normal men outside of telling them, well, alpha your way through and become uber wealthy and then you'll be all right. Maybe. Right? You don't know how to incentivize your men. And so, yes, they've retreated to online spaces. A whole lot of internet porn, a whole lot of video games, a whole lot of chat rooms, watching live streams with their favorite content creator, which, by the way, the women are doing that one too. Right? So you want to use more stick? Pause. You want to use more stick is what you're saying. Right? You want to beat up on the young men even more. You want to drag them off of the interwebs into this reality that's very coarse and very harsh. And we're millennials and we know that. So you want the Gen Z men to do what now? Eat that? Because why? Oh, because your daughters don't have anyone to marry. Your daughters want the men on the top anyway. Right? You better get them some good boxing shoes and boxing gloves. They're going to need it to fight for those men at the top. Right? Y'all excuse my background. I know it's loud right now. I'm kind of on a rough area of the expressway right now. Right? You've taken the incentives off the table. What did you think was going to happen? What's the carrot? The median income for men is some $50,000, what, something like that. Like it's actually less than that, but okay. Let's say average man $50,000 a year. He has a 50-50 chance of getting divorced if he actually does get married, right? 50-50% chance, 50-50 chance of getting divorced. That's if he even gets married. And so what is the carrot? Your young men have been getting hit with sticks their entire lives. They've been being told that how inadequate they are to the girls their entire lives. They've been watching television shows and movies showing them how much smarter the girls are, how much stronger the girls are, how much better the girls are than them their entire lives. Gen Z have been watching that their entire lives. Millennials might have had a couple, depending on how old you are as a millennial, you might have had a couple of years of men are still men. But Gen Z didn't have that at all. Gen Z has had straight Colombiana, little Zoe Saldana's beating up all, name it, from animation, 3D art, live action, all of these movies and television shows that they don't just show female empowerment. Oh no, 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 no. Male inadequacy. Before we even get to the sexist stuff, male inadequacy. I don't even know if inadequacy is a word. We're going to use it. We'll go with it. Men being inadequate. Men being dumb and daft and retarded and slow. At best, you get the big, dumb, chisel chin, six-pack jock. At best. And as smart as the men are, there's always some woman that's smarter, wittier, while still being kind and being stern and being strong and being soft. What? Right? Gen Z men grew up with that, and you wonder why they're not participating? You showed them as dummies. You showed them as doing what they're doing now. You showed them millennial and some Xer men sitting on their mother's couch doing nothing, being a drain on the family. At least they're a drain on the family and not a drain on society, right? You showed them that their entire lives. And now that some of them are actually becoming that, now we're like, oh my God, where did this come from? Right? The men don't want to participate in society. What's going on here? The young men have decided to drop out of society. What's going on here? They're retreating to the interwebs. Why not? Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Why not? And then y'all let the capitalists eat up everything on top of that. Oh yeah, your sons are definitely like, why? $500,000 homes? Yeah, nope. Don't sign me up. $50,000 new cars? Yeah, nope. $35,000 used cars? Yeah, nope. Degrees that don't pay much of anything? Yeah, nope. Trades and skills that don't have that societal, that it doesn't pay in what's that? The societal dividends. You don't get that kind of what's the term I'm looking for here? People don't look at it longingly. People don't look at it like, oh, look, oh, such and such, graduated from this technical institute, and yeah, they're making some good money, and yeah, no. So you might make the money, but you're still just blue collar, and you're still looked at like, yeah, it's all right. I guess it's not a Harvard degree, right? Your sons have been watching that. Your sons watched as their Gen X older cousins got ripped to shreds. Your Gen Zs. They watched their millennial brothers and cousins get ripped to shreds. And you wonder why they're not participating. Why they're not enrolling in college. And then when they do enroll, why they're not graduating. Why would they? Especially for college, right? Why would I enter an institution that tell me how much of a sexist monster I am every single day? And that tells me the best I can do is essentially imitate the white little girls, the white women. Black women imitate white women. Asian women imitate white women. Latina women imitate white women. Black men imitate white women. White men imitate white women. Latino men imitate white women. Asian men imitate white women. The white women has become the standard in academia. She's the bar. And you wonder why even your white sons, your heterosexual white sons, are like, yeah, I'd rather not emote like her and speak like her and talk like her and walk like her and think like her and feel like her. Right? What is the carrot? Is my question again. What's the carrot? Let's revise that question. What's the carrot for anyone that's not a millionaire? What's the carrot for all the people that's not earning six figures? Deep into the six figures on top of that. What's the carrot? Okay, let's say there's a carrot for the people that's earning, $150,000. For the men that's earning $150,000 a year, there's a carrot for them. What about everyone else? And I have to throw this out here. Nobody was saying anything when it was happening to black boys. Train tracks, train tracks, train tracks. When it was happening to black boys, it was a character flaw. Now that it's happening to white guys, it's systemic. It was always systemic. You just didn't care, right? What is the carrot for anyone, for normal, regular 40, 50, 60, 65, $70,000 a year men? We even know there's an entry point, right? What was the article that came out years ago? Economically unattractive men are leading to a downturn in marriage. In other words, there's even an entry point, financial entry point for marriage. There's also financial entry point for relationships. And there's nothing wrong with that. No one's telling women to end up with bums. No one's telling women to end up with bums. Right? But if the entry point starts off at $42,000, and we know the median income for men is some $35,000, $36,000, even $40,000, doesn't that mean that more than half of men fall under that? You want to know why young men aren't getting married, right? And y'all talk amongst yourselves. I'm gonna pause right here for a second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Give Mr. Z 1 minute. Oh yeah, and like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. All right, I'm back. I'm back. And Demetrius says, and thank you for the super chat, brother. He says, more content ideas, Z. Watch DJ Torch live channel. Okay, I'll check it out. I'll check it out. I will check it out. Right. And let's read this comment from Rogish. And Rogish says, every other commercial is showing how everybody all of a sudden is making crazy loot. It's stupid, dude. A clear sign of something they are attempting to get people to specifically believe in. I know what you're trying to say. Okay. And I think that's important. And that's important for this conversation too, about the carrot and the stick. The reason why this is important is because, one, you're selling false hope, right? I've said this before. The commercial is a commercial, and the television show is a commercial. Product placement all over these television shows and these movies. And even, let's say they weren't selling actual tangible products, they're still selling ideas on the television show or in the movies. They're still selling ideas, right? Number one. Number two, that's also affecting the way your daughters think and feel about things, which further takes away the carrot and adds to the stick, right? These people are selling a particular lifestyle. They're marketing a particular lifestyle. And your daughters, your young girls, are more susceptible to it. So they're susceptible, Mr. Z couldn't get it out, susceptible to selling upper middle class and rich lifestyle as middle class. So if y'all want to know why, when a lot of these young women are questioned, rest in peace Kevin Samuels, but wherever they're questioned, whether it's Courtney Ryan, whether it's Kevin Samuels, you name it, Fresh and Fit, name them. They always throw out video game numbers, football, like crazy numbers, right? 250,000, 300,000, 600,000, 650,000, a million. Right? They throw that out there because all you've shown them throughout their youth are $1 million lifestyles. That's all you've shown them. Right? I covered this before when I focused on a particular segment of Wisecrack when they were speaking about Malcolm in the Middle, and then they were speaking about television shows and how these television shows you can't sell a $250 vacuum after you showed the struggle that people are living on a television show. So it's a very conscious choice to show upward mobility and usually have a positive spin on the end of the television show, right? And you can even see that in the Black community. You can't have shows like Good Time because Good Time shows a family striving to get out the hood, and they just keep on getting knocked back over and over again. Just keep on getting knocked back. Every time they come upon something happens in life that just knocks them right back. You can't have that as a because it's uninspiring. It may be more realistic. It may be something that more people are living, but it's uninspiring. And you know, Americans love them a happy ending. Pun intended on that too, by the way. Funny enough. Right? You know, Americans have to have their happy ending. Right? And so because we sell happy endings over here, we got to show $1 million lifestyles, hundreds of thousands of dollar lifestyles, and turn that into something. And here's the kicker: have poor people root for rich people to win. What? Have poor people live vicariously through a-hole rich people on this television show and make the most asinine comments ever. Y'all ready for it, people? If I was him, I would have did the same thing. That's the catch, you dummy. You're not him, nor will you ever be. That's the whole point. Oh, the comments. Y'all know y'all read those comments online, or you have a family member or relative say it, or maybe you even said it. If I was him, I would have did the same thing. You mean if you were the person that's worth $15 million, you would have did the same thing, even though you're never going to be worth $15 million, probably, short of the lottery. How does this tie into the carrot and the stick? Because we're all consuming this entertainment. We are all consuming this entertainment. And your sons realize how insane grabbing the carrot is. And your sons also realize that your daughters are also insane about that carrot. We're not talking about who your daughters settle for. We're not speaking about who your daughters have sex with, but they won't be in a relationship with. We're speaking about your daughter's future husband or not husband. And the standard she puts for him. And what that carrot looks like for him. Right? What does that carrot look like for your sons after 2.5, 3 decades of entertainment that your daughter has been watching, and now your sons meet your daughters, try to date your daughters, and she has been indoctrinated with 2.5, 3 decades of Prussian school system and American entertainment designed by white, old, crickety, crotchety, rich white men who don't care about nothing about social fabric. They're just trying to sell products. Right? And thanks for the super chat. And Willie AR, William, we're just going to say William, right? Says the legacy of famous marketer and propagandist Edward Bernays lives on. Exactly. Right? And he was genius, actually. Got women to smoke cigarettes, right? Advised presidents, all of that. Good stuff. All of that. Right? And shout out to BGS. BGS is in here. But yeah. So BGS, I'm just reviewing your video and just backing you up and saying, so what's the carrot? What's the carrot? Right? Because your sons have been getting a whole lot of stick upside their head. Stick on their ass. Pause. But what's the carrot? Of course, Gen Z are retreating to online spaces. What else do they got? What else do they have? Of course, Gen Z men are retreating to online spaces because we have thoroughly feminized offline spaces, real life, except for the absolute elite men at the very top. And even them, they got to walk carefully. Right? Even they have to walk carefully. Right? And so we're selling products and ideas and worldview on television that's not conducive for a good, healthy, nuclear, heterosexual family and relationship. Okay, cool. Then we're sending the boys and the girls to an education system that is thoroughly matriarchal and has a woman bent to it. Okay, cool. Add that on. Then the social environment is adversarial to male behavior. We think we can socialize the men and the boys into not being men and boys, raise them like they're de facto girls. Right? So you could throw that in there on top of that. And then we have this now. Oh wait, the boys are retreating to online spaces, and they're sleeping on their parents' couch, and they're dwelling in their mom's basement, and they're not participating in society, and they're not working. And if they do work, they work like they're minimalist, and they do just little small jobs, just enough to get by. And if they do earn enough, then they roommate with their friends of similar ages for way too long, and they don't seem to want to get married, and they don't want to have children. And why would they? Why would they? We have to be honest about the environment that we created. What's happening is that these people are watching the men and the boys respond to the environment, and then they're starting with the boys and the men's response and not even seeing it as a response. No, your men and your boys are responding to the environment. It didn't start with your men and your boys just waking up one day and saying, you know what, yeah, about that college thing, I'm not going to go. Right? And about those technical institutes, yeah, I'm not going to go. And about trying to earn 70, 75,000 and above a year, yeah, I'm not going to try. Oh, and about dating and trying to get married, and yeah, I'm not going to. No, it didn't start that way. That's a response to the environment that many of you helped to foster. Shout out to Kim Foster. Right? And we have to speak like that's what's going on, because that's what's going on. Right? The environment is what the environment is. And your sons are responding to the environment. And many of you have been attempting to shame them for decades. Ask me how I know I'm black and I'm from the black community. It doesn't work. The shaming tactics do not work. And the effectiveness of your shaming tactics, you know, the law of diminishing returns. Right? And y'all give me a second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Give me half a second. Well, actually, give me like 10 seconds. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. And I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. And Rogish is, and thank you for the super chat, Rogish. And Rogish is the online game Second Life has. What did you say? Give me 1 second. Has now become the first. Let me see. The first, and if Japan can make it work to a degree, what do you say? Elong, elongation. Then I suspect the U.S. to attempt to spend that coin too. So let's read that again. The online game Second Life has now become the first, and if Japan can make it work to a degree of elongation, then I suspect the U.S. to attempt to do this to spin that coin too. Well, yeah, the virtual reality space and all of that kind of like, and it's funny. But look at the game that you mentioned, Rogish. Actually, let's pause right there. Look at the game you mentioned. Listen to that title. Right? Listen to that title, Second Life. Why? Because the first life sucks, right? Because the real life sucks. because you can't afford a home in the real life. I'm just saying. And yes, I've heard of the game Second Life. I don't know much about it, but I definitely have heard of it before. Right. But yeah, people are going to retreat, and it's starting off with your sons, but it's not going to stay with your sons. And your daughters are retreating online too. It's not exclusive to your sons. Y'all are making real life way too difficult. People are trying to have some peace. So I can't buy a real home. I'll buy a home in the game. I can't afford this car, so I'll buy a car in the game. I can't speak the way I really think, so I'll speak like this online. I can't emote the way I really feel, so I'll do that online. Right? If you make being human untenable in real life, yeah, I said it the way I said it, then people will be human online, which is weird. Can't be human in real life, so I'm gonna go online to be human. Oh, wow, okay. Right? And Mr. Z caught himself doing that also, if we're gonna have a moment of honesty. When Mr. Z ain't have the funds, guess what? Every video game Mr. Z had, guess what? Had the Z looking exactly how I wanted it to look. Now I got the car in real life. Still got the Z in the video game, but I play less. Because I gotta afford the real thing. Right? Your sons are no longer scared of the carrot. Excuse me, wrong. Your sons are no longer scared of the stick. That's what happens. You hear parents say this often. You spank your kid, you whoop your kid too much, they're no longer scared of the belt. You got to keep on upping the ante. You got to keep on. It has to be more and more and more. Then you might find yourself in behind a prison cell because of child abuse. Your sons are no longer scared of the stick because they've been getting hit with the stick. All the insults, degrading masculinity, belittling men, belittling working class men. Right? Your sons are no longer scared of the stick, and now you have to figure something else out. And the best thing that you have actually is the fact that your sons are on these devices, is the fact that your sons are living out their fantasies in some alternate reality online. That's actually somewhat of a good thing, because if you take that away, do you really want to know what the society looks like if and when you take that away? And Will AR says, look at the Gillette shaving cream commercial and Bud Light commercials. The system is trying to cram this effeminate mess down our throats. And thank you for the super chat. And yes, and it's not working. That's the thing. It's trying to push something that's not working. Your daughters and your sons are saying no, hell no. You know, sometimes Mr. Z wish he had like that Thanos gauntlet, right? So you could snap the reality these people are trying to fight for. You could show them, like, you could, okay, you want that? All right, look, this is what it looks like, right? So you can show them this is what it looks like. This is the end result of your worldview. You fast forward them 20 years later, 50 years later, maybe a century later, and show them, oh yeah, this is what it looks like. You remember that thing you was fighting for back in 2023? Yeah, this is what it looks like in 2021 33 or something, 2123, right? This is what it looks like. Your daughters and your sons are screaming from the rooftops that they don't actually like this stuff. And I'm actually going to cover a video probably later on tonight from Wisecrack. I'll actually put everything in so y'all can watch the video, and then I'll cover it a little bit later. I'll try to get in before Art of Immor does his live stream. Because even Wisecrack is covering people trying to retreat to traditional gender roles. And they do mention the economics of the situation, yes, but also because your daughters are coming out here and they don't like their lives. Okay, she earned $45,000 a year, and that's it. She earned $43,000 a year. She got a brand new camera she could barely afford, and she lives with a roommate, or she still lives at home with her parents. That's not good enough. If that's the independence that you were fighting for, these ladies are like, yeah, I'd rather not. And then your sons, on the other hand, oh my God, attending college less and less, university less and less, and why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? We have to be honest about the environment and why your sons and your daughters are responding the way they are. Particularly your sons. The carrot, what's the carrot? The carrot is you got to make somewhere deep into the six figures because 100,000 is not really enough. Let's be honest. You got to go a bit above, just a smidge, a little bit above that. Let's start the clock at 150. Right? That makes you somewhat of a viable candidate. That's when you start, your divorce rate starts to lower if you do get married. Because now your wife got to consider, yeah, he be leaving the toilet seat up one too many times, but if I leave, am I going to be able to do this again? And he had me sign that prenup, so I'm not going to get half if I leave. That's your carrot. The question is, what is the carrot for average men? Because let's be honest, it's average men that make this country go round. It's your average $25,000 to about $75,000 a year men that make this country go round. They stop working, everything stops. They stop working, everything stops. They stop participating, everything stops. But what's the carrot? Right. What is the carrot? Whole lot of stick, no carrot. And your sons know about insane divorces now. They hear the women speaking. They hear the women telling you what they won't settle for, what they won't do, who's not good enough, who's not on their level, who wants to be with average anyway. The black girls are saying it. The white girls think it. Right? Anubis, you see what I'm saying? Could we stop acting like we don't know what we know, like we don't see what we see? Right? And so, on that note, no point in beating up a dead horse too much. Um, and so BGS did a great job covering this. To the Congress member, Mr. Jake, I understand you have two children. I get it, right? MIT, Harvard, the Marines, great. That's great. That means you were on the fast track not to be average from the jump. Cool. But for us average guys, oh yeah. There's not much carrot out there for the average guys, sir. For the average guys, there's not much carrot. And their actions are showing it. And they're responding to the environment. They are responding to the environment. And thank you very much, Will. Am I pronounce? How does it pronounce? Is it Willie A.R. William, or how should I pronounce it? Right. I always get confused pronouncing your name, along with many others. Let Mr. Z be honest. I'll be messing up on a whole lot of people's names. Right. So as BGS spoke, all I heard was carrot and stick. And as he read through the article, and I looked up the Congress member, right? And that's how I got to find out, yeah, Harvard and MIT, and BGS did say he was from Massachusetts. Okay, two children, around my age, 35 years old, so he's a millennial. And it's very interesting because, and this is like what happens when you're an air quotes winner, right? When you're an air quotes winner, you really don't know how to sympathize with the people that are losing. You don't really understand. You don't know how to sympathize with the people on the losing side, right? So you're married by the age of 35. You have two children. So, nice nuclear family. You went to MIT, Harvard, Marines. You're winning. You 35 years old. You're already, Congress member. Oh my God, you're winning. 35 years old. You already have been a Congress member. You're winning. What Congress members make a year? 100 and something, 175, something like that a year. You already hit that in your life, right? When the majority of men never exceed $65,000 a year. And only 1/3 of men ever surpass $100,000 a year. And you flew past that, and you did it by the age of 35. Right? So you don't really know how to, you don't really understand what average men are going through. That's for your white brethren, let alone for black men. You really don't appreciate it. And you really don't appreciate what this dating scene looks like. It always comes back to the relationships between men and women, right? These people really do not appreciate the way the ladies sound, what the women are saying, what the men are witnessing the women say, what the young men are witnessing the young women say, what the boys in high school are witnessing the girls say and do. Even when you remove women out of the equation, $500,000 homes, $50,000 new cars, $35,000 used cars. Interest rate rising. So that means that loan is more expensive. Apartments still expensive. Apartments went up with the house prices. Groceries. All the important little knickknacks that you need throughout life. half of Americans don't work already. That's between the children, the elderly, the disabled, the unemployed, half of Americans. And so out of the half that does work, we're taking the half of the half that does work, that's the men, and then we're wagging our fingers at them. And then we're looking at the half that doesn't work, and then we're taking half of them, that's the men again, and we're wagging our fingers at them. And between the men that do work and contribute and the men that don't work, and we use them as a scare tactic to keep the ones that are working, they're both fed up. And Mr. Jake, they're never going to make $170 some odd thousand a year. Right? And Cartel says, I'm a Morehouse School graduate and an older millennial, and I still struggle making only 70K a year with no kids. Brother, most men, regardless of race, never, or race neutral, never hit that. Most men never get past $65,000 a year, white, black, Latino, Asian, or otherwise. Right? And so for you to be at 70, you still winning. Now, you ain't winning maybe the way you wish you were winning. That's definitely understandable, but you're still winning. And with no kids. Exactly. Exactly, Cartel. The average American is overworked and undervalued and underappreciated. Now add an XY chromosome to that. Right? And so I'll end it out with that. Mr. Jake, was it? Let me make sure I get that last name again because Action Clause, Mr. Jake Action Clause, right? I understand your hesitation and your fear, because especially you having two children. Um, but welcome to hell, right? Welcome to hell. So if you have a son, I hope you're willing to sacrifice him to the gynocracy. Right? And because of your tract, you'll be okay. Your son's gonna be okay. Your son's gonna be okay because you're his dad and where you've achieved already, how much you've achieved already. But this environment is what it is. This environment is what it is, and your sons are responding. And instead of chastising them and questioning their manhood, maybe you might want to look at that environment and see what y'all can do with that first. And have fun dealing with the pushback from the women. Ask Mr. Z how he knows. You ever heard of my brother's keeper? Yikes. Right? And on that note, we'll pause right there. Right? Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Right? Go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content. Tonight, hopefully, I should be coming back to you guys with a stream. And like I said, I'm gonna hurry up and put everything together so I can make sure you guys watch it later, right? And on that note, y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Mr. Z out. All right, everybody, y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Oh yeah, and I exited first time around on the exit. Take that, better you. All right, y'all have a great rest of y'all day.